Hello and welcome back to my channel Hiral's World. Today we are going to talk about one such topic where everybody has requested me ki Hiral, please tell us, how is it in Canada right now? Is Canada actually undergoing recession? Are there jobs? So how about we hear from one of the very special friend of mine. She has actually recently come to Canada less than a year ago, and I will let her introduce herself to you. Her name is Sachi, and let's just go on to her. Okay. All right, everybody. So meet Sachi, and I will let her introduce herself. So Sachi, tell us something about yourself.
So hi, my name is Sachi. I am from India. I'm from Gujarat basically. I came to Canada almost a year back now, and yeah, I have been working here as a special educator.
Oh, awesome. Well, I didn't even know that it's Sachi. I thought it's Sachi. I always thought. And I was actually about to ask you that is it S-A-N-C-H-I or S-A-C-H-I?
It's S-H-A-C-H-I.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay, sorry. Sachi is her name.
No worries.
And I call you my friend. Oh, by the way, everybody, this is just our second meeting, so pardon me as well. Alright, Sachi, so tell us why Canada?
Okay, so why Canada? I got married in 2022, and then my husband was in Canada working as an accountant, so he had like a great job here, and yeah, I moved to Canada because I got married to my husband. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, and by the way, just for a little bit of context, Sachi's husband moved here on study permit, and then of course he was working here, so at that time he was on work permit here. But Sachi, did you ever thought of like moving to Canada even before you got married?
Not really. Canada was never, like, in fact, any place out of India was never on my mind. I always wanted to be settled in India, but yeah, Canada was also not a bad option.
Wow.
Considering my husband was here.
Yeah, of course, right? So Sachi, for our viewers, could you tell us what did you do in India before you moved here?
Okay, so back in India, I was working with a lot of schools in Hyderabad. So I was responsible for training teachers across different remote locations and different schools in India. So that's what I was doing.
So can we say that you were like a teacher?
I used to be a teacher, but then my major role was in the capacity of building the capacity of the teachers. So I was training the teachers in a way.
Oh,
so, yeah,
nice. Okay, I'd love to know more about that. So the role back in India, so you mentioned that you were training teachers. So just so that I understand it properly, is it like you were training school teachers, or what was the role? Could you give us a little bit more context into it?
Sure. So my role basically was, if I have to give a title, it was like Academic Excellence Manager. So I was working with one of the companies that used to have their own curriculum, and I would be responsible for training the teachers on that curriculum. My major training would be in terms of how to conduct a class, because now we see that how the children are changing, the kind of generation that we are in is so different, and also the kind of teaching that is required is not old school anymore. We need to move on with the kind of current things that are happening. So my major responsibility was training the teachers on the academics, but more on the pedagogy, like how to actually teach. So I would be going into the teachers' classrooms, observing their classes, giving them feedback. So it was a very enriching experience. Yeah.
And to become this person, what do you have to study?
Right. So I, like, just going back a little more, I did my master's in pharmacy. I was working a corporate life. I was working for 2 years as a data analyst. And then I realized that my passion was more in teaching. So then I started the Teach for India Fellowship. I got selected as a fellow, and then I worked as a core teacher in a school for 2 years. And then I also did my simultaneously I was working with social emotional learning, so that's how I got into it, and then I got into training teachers. So basically I wouldn't say anything with respect to studies, but then I did my fellowship that gave me like a good start for this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So data analyst, and then like all of a sudden moving into teaching. That's a really great kind of realization that you wanted to move into something like this, right?
Yeah, true. And I mean, I have also been joked by certain people, you just wasted a seat in M-Pharm, and it was just like learning experience, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's okay, right? You can always apply that medicine knowledge anywhere else.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what I'm doing now.
So Sachi, tell us, what is this Teach for India Fellowship? Could you tell the viewers about like, because I do post a lot of fellowship related stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
how did you come across it? So just give a little bit of brief about it.
Sure. So Teach for India is like a 2-year fellowship, and it is a part, it's like a non-profit organization, which is a part of a larger network called Teach for All. So all the countries have their own Teach for networks. Like Teach for Canada is there, we have Teach for America. It's like all the countries have their own version of it. Basically, it's like a 2-year of fellowship where we are placed into a school where we teach, and the model is developing leadership through teaching. So as we know that teachers are not just responsible for just doing the core teaching into the classrooms, but they do a lot of different stuff, like they hold parents teacher meeting, they ensure that they are developing the child's overall growth. It's not just delivering, the academics. So developing of leadership was the model, and we also used to work a lot on community empowerment. So it was not just the classrooms, but what we bring outside the classroom. So developing leadership through those kind of things that we used to do. It's like I said, it's a 2 years of fellowship, and it's pretty challenging, in fact, and also like the selection rate is like 5%, so only 5% of the people get selected for this fellowship. So.
Well, I always thought that B.Ed was the only way to become teacher in India. So this is something very new for even me as well. Like for me, as in, not that I'm like pro, but again, I do a lot of like research into fellowship and stuff, which I always post on Instagram and everywhere, right? You would have known. So yeah, that's something very unique, right? And that's something that is very interesting to know. So right now you're working, where are you working, and how did your Indian experience help you in getting it here?
Right. So I'm working with Vancouver Learning Center as a special educator.
So my very, very first question is, how did you come across this job?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you apply? How did you how did you find it, right? Because within 4 weeks of moving here, I think like few weeks of moving here and finding a job is like mind blowing. Everybody just, I think she's really very smart and that's why probably she got it. But not that it's not possible. It is possible, right? So how did you apply for this job? Or rather, how did you go about finding jobs, let's say?
Right. So I did what everybody does. Go on LinkedIn, go on Indeed, go on every recruiting place that you can. But I was very clear that I wanted to continue my job or whatever I do here in education sector. So my goal was very clear. I wanted to make sure that I am doing something in the education sector here as well, using all my experience back in India. So like she said, I don't have a B.Ed. I don't even have a special education certificate. And also Canada requires a lot of certification. I have come across, I did take a private school teaching certificate, so I still have that. But for this particular job, all they needed were the right skills in order to be a special educator. So yeah, a lot of my Indian experience did help with respect to getting into here.
Yeah. And for the viewers, just so you know, Vancouver Learning Center is not just, any institute. Vancouver Learning Center is actually very well spread out. And it is very well known institute within Canada. So it's equivalent to, let's say,
like Byju's.
Yeah, right?
Everybody would know that.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I don't know those references, but yeah, sure. So it's very well known institute, just so everybody knows. So Sachi, you said that you applied online, right? Just like everybody else. So what I have heard here in Canada is networking goes long way. So did you network with anybody? If so, how? Just give some tips, and also then I will come on to your resume as well, because I do want to know what kind of resume did you apply with, so that you even got an interview call, because sometimes people apply to thousands of jobs and they don't get it, right?
Yeah.
So your resume holds that key as well. So let's also try to talk about that. So first, let's talk about networking.
Okay. So about networking, I know that it was very important. Because like I mentioned, I did not do my B.Ed. So it became very important for me to understand how to get my certification in Canada, to be a certified teacher. So what I did was I did ask one of my friends who had gotten her certification here in Canada. And she guided me a lot in terms of getting my private school teaching certificate. And that makes me eligible to actually do B.Ed here and then follow up with my public school certification. But yeah, the networking helped me with at least getting the certification that is needed in most of the cases in Canada in order to teach. So that's how I got my certificate.
But just to clarify, so even though you were working towards your certification, this job did not require certification as such. It just needed more so your experience. Is that so?
Yeah. So that is true. It was one of the cases where I did tell them that I do have the certification, but all that they needed was more of the experience and the hands-on working with the children with special needs. So I think that was what they were looking for.
Yeah, and for the viewers to know, special needs is something which is so much more important here, be it like physical or mental disability, like in terms of accessibility services. Even I started my career there as well, so I think it's very, very important. And like how we see it in India, it's very different compared to India here, right?
Absolutely.
Would you agree on that?
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to, of course, you did networking. You did kind of know the path to take for your licensing, but while you were doing that, you were also applying for jobs,
Yes,
right?
I was.
So tell us about resume, your secret tip about resume.
So about the secret tip for the resume, that's a very interesting question. I think what I feel is resume should not be just about the kind of duties that you have done, or it's not about the roles and the responsibilities, you just summarize it, but rather what was the kind of skills that you developed, or what was the outcome that you brought out in terms of the job that you were doing. Because every job you need to ensure that you are growing as a person, or you are developing your own skills. So I think I made sure that I pulled that out in order for them to understand that this is the kind of exposure I have had given myself during all my jobs that would help me be successful in the role that they are looking for. So I think that was the major thing that I was very focused on in my resume.
Did you reference anything like any sample resumes or anything of that sort?
Of course, like I did refer to a lot of resumes, and also like I spent a lot of time making sure that my resume is to the mark and very clear and crisp in order for the interviewer to understand that I will have a lot to bring to the table when I go into the job.
So I think before, just like we were starting our interview, we were talking about how in India we are spoon-fed always, right? So a lot of my followers are like, how do I do research? That's like a very basic question, right? They would always ask ki, bhai resume sample de do, hum same to same copy kar lenge. That's what like they usually say. So how did you go about doing that research, of course?
So about the research, I mean, I don't understand the point of just having like a format and just copying it or having those kind of things. But about the research, like I said, I was more clear on the kind of goals and outcomes I want to communicate. Apart from all the other things, I think the job description helps you to, make a more cohesive thing with respect to what the organization's goal is for hiring the person, and how can you, kind of match those skills that they are looking for. So looking at the responsibilities, objective, and the job position, that's the kind of research that I did. And actually find out everything about whatever I could, in fact, about Vancouver Learning Center by just a Google search, knowing what are they looking for, what kind of people have worked, kind of looking up the team that is currently at the center, what kind of things that they have had experience with in the past, and all those research helped me.
And I think that's something that is very important. Everybody, whoever is watching this, doing thorough research in terms of company insights and their goals and what they are looking for, because how can you provide that value is very, very important. I always tell my students and like whoever I'm advising that you have to know the company and you have to know what their goals are and how you can help them achieve it, right? So yeah, that's like amazing tip. Thank you very much. All right, so moving on to interviews. So yes, you crafted an amazing resume. Did you also have to write a cover letter?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did write a cover letter.
Okay, so like for each job that you were applying. And
Yes.
was it a 1-page or a 2-page resume?
It was just a 1-page. I always make sure that my resume is 1 page because I have been an interviewer also, so I know that it is boring and exhausting to read long resumes. I would always recommend everybody to have just 1 page. Even though I have like 10 years of experience, I was able to make sure that I have just 1 page resume. So
Wow. And it is actually a skill to fit everything
Yeah.
on 1 page, right?
it is.
Okay, so moving on to interviews, right? Like after you were applying to different jobs, how many interview calls did you get?
I did get calls specifically from private schools because I did get a certification from my private school. The only thing that was not a fit for me with the private schools was my learning. I wasn't sure whether I would learn so much as I would learn in the job that I was going to get in Vancouver Learning Center. So yeah.
Wow, yeah. So I mean, yes, that is one of the very important things when you're in Canada. Even I, like whenever I'm doing any job, I always think about what is it that it's going to give me, right? In terms of learning, and learning is the biggest takeaway. So wow,
Exactly.
you are very smart. I did not think that way when I came from India. So then moving on to your interview process within this job that
Right.
you are currently at. How was the interview process like?
So the interview was actually pretty chill compared to how you always think like I'm doing interview, some exam, somebody's going to judge me. Like, you always have those thoughts at the back end when you're going for an interview. But this interview was really very smooth. And in fact, for that matter, I feel every interview that I have also given, like I said, I did get calls from private school. So I did give interview and it was very seamless, I feel. And it's not like, the other person is there to kind of judge you for who you are or your experiences, but rather get insights from what kind of experiences you have had. So my interview was, I feel the kind of difference that I felt between my interviews back in India and here is in India, I would be asked a lot of technical questions, a lot of like, a template, I would feel like they have like a questionnaire and they would be asking me questions from there. But here it was more of, trying to understand my application based questions. So, for example, like I was talking to you about also before our interview that, I was asked question as to if we do a professional development training, what is it that you would bring to the table? So that is for them to understand whether I can actually coach other people or not within the organization, or is it something that I will also be able to add any value to the organization. So I felt that it was very empowering because they were not just wanting me as a teacher, but rather also making sure that there is something that I also bring to the table every time there is some training going on. So yeah, my interview was really awesome.
Yeah, and I think I also feel the same way. Whenever I am interviewing for positions, I don't think that I get asked very rhetoric questions, but rather questions where they can know my actual experience and how that experience can help me as a person to develop something within the organization. So yeah.
Yeah, and also to add to the same thing that you said, right? Sometimes I also feel people have this urge to add certain things where they did not have the relevant experience. And then, in the interview, they did ask me about all of my jobs in very specific in terms of what kind of outcomes did I see, or tell me more about your experience with social emotional learning for that matter. How did you go about it? So I felt that they were trying to check also whether, I really did what I have mentioned in my resume. So yeah, that was also pretty.
Yeah, actually, that's a very important and actually very good point that you've made. Never lie on your resume, right? Because they can catch it. Here, really people can catch it. Yeah. So, that's a great tip. All right. So, great. Congratulations. After interview, you got your job. And could you tell us your overall experience, because you have worked both in India as well as here, right? And here also, I would say above 6 months, it's considered a good experience. So what's your overall experience of working in India versus here?
Okay, I mean, there are perks and cons at both the ends. I think the major thing that I see here is a lot of professionalism when it comes to your work and everything. I feel that of course it was very professional setting back in India as well, but in terms of the work-life balance that we talk about, I feel it's much more present here and prevalent. And also I feel that people have a lot of respect in general for everything that you do, or I did not feel ever that I was being checked or I was being monitored continuously, I was being critically analyzed, etc. But rather I was free to try whatever I wanted. And even I am still, I'm learning. But I feel that is a very huge difference I felt in India. I feel like there's a lot of continuous monitoring and stuff that keeps on happening when you're in India. So I have seen a lot of cultural differences in terms of, the work culture, is very sorted here. And I also feel that everybody in the organization that I'm currently in, everybody is very compassionate, very empathetic. There's a lot of value in what you put into the table and everything. So I feel like there is a difference in respect to the work culture for sure.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with you on the autonomy part as well. Even here, right? Like, I mean, my boss never asks me when I'm going in or like, what am I working on? I very rarely get asked those questions, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's more so that they trust you to do your work. And then you do it willfully and nicely, and then after you're off work, nobody bothers you.
Yeah, that's very true.
All right, so as we wrap up our conversation, what has been your overall experience of living in Canada? People, I mean, you go on Instagram, people will say, it's so cold, like it's this, it's that. Not that it's not, like, but
is.
yeah, exactly it is. But I mean, yeah, what's your overall experience weather-wise, people-wise? Like, what do you feel overall?
Okay, so I think let's talk about weather. I always was scared at the idea of moving into a cold country, but fortunately, I think Vancouver has a very great atmosphere compared to all the other places in Canada. So I don't complain about the weather anymore now. It has been great, pollution free. So yeah, great. In terms of adjustment, it took some time with respect to the cold, but I think you can manage with clothes. And what was the other question?
And overall, your just experience of living, culture shock. How people talk about like, did you have any culture shock?
No, I did not actually have any culture shock. I think also because there are a lot of Indians in Canada, so you don't have much of a culture shock factor. But also, like, I did not feel it. My entire office is not there. There is not even a single Indian in my workplace. So, but I did not feel like I had a culture shock here.
Yeah. So it's very inclusive.
It's
right?
very inclusive,
overall. Yeah. Even like I live in a place where like there aren't very many Indians, right? Like in this surrounding. But yeah, like I've never felt left out. Like I always feel that everybody just kind of lives together.
True.
So yeah, I do agree that it is very multicultural. Moving on to our last segment and very important segment, which is, do you have any tips for our viewers? And for people who are coming to Canada, because see, all my viewers are either interested in settling abroad or are either going to study abroad or are going to work abroad. So any tips for people who are coming to Canada in 2024 onwards?
Okay. So with regards to any tip to, like, if you're coming to Canada in 2024, I think I would like to just say two things. The first thing is, like, don't think that you will not get a job or you will have to do odd jobs here, which of course is not at all an issue if it's a very notable professions. Everything is awesome. I feel like you should have a clear goal in terms of what you want to do here, and if you do that, I feel like you will make sure that you get the kind of job that you are actually looking for. So one thing is, please make sure that you have a particular goal as to where you want to see yourself and make sure you work towards it. And adding to that thing, my second tip would be, make sure you are expanding and diversifying your skill sets when you are in India. Don't feel like, because I am doing engineering or because I am doing medical or because I'm doing this job, I should not explore or be exposed to different things. I feel that you should make sure that you are expanding your skill sets no matter what. Like, I'm the best example for that because I did something else. I ventured into something else. I made sure that I learned skills. So don't think that knowledge is everything. Your skills are much more important than your knowledge, because here everybody is focused on what kind of skills do you have. Knowledge will follow, but like, knowledge is super important, but in order to be with people, in order to work with a team, you should have all the skill sets that are necessary if you have a particular goal that you have in mind.
Yeah, and I think I totally agree with you on that, because yes, having a lot of skills is always important. And India mein usually what happens is that once you are at a job, you are expected to do that job, right? You never think about, oh, let me try something else, let me try something new, right?
Exactly.
So do try new things while you are at job, and or like if you're not happy, always feel free to venture out. And thank you very much, Sachi, for all the great tips and everything. Oh my god, like even I feel like I always thought that, it's my point of view, but I think our point of views match so much. And yeah, thank you very much.
And yeah, thank you, Hiral, for doing this, because I know that I always had, I would be asked so many questions from people like, why did you do this? Why did you move to teaching? What is there in teaching? But thanks for capturing my journey through this. If people can be empowered to think that there is no harm in being a teacher, because people always feel like if you don't do anything, you become a teacher. But I think it's a completely different thing. And thanks for capturing that experience for me.
Oh, thank you. I think she also just bribed me with the cake as well. So
Small thing.
No, I think I'm very much interested in knowing people's journey as well. And your journey has been really very inspiring. And I'm sure that it is same for viewers too. So viewers, if you do like her journey, then do give it a thumbs up. Do like this video. And then I will give her all the likes, that the number of likes that I get, I will give those to her.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah. And if you have any questions about, Sachi's experience or in general, feel free to put them in the comment section below. Or I will also get her permission to put her Instagram or her LinkedIn profile down below in the description box. So feel free to reach out to her as well. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Until then, bye.